Alrighty, we are live.
Live.
Hello, everybody. It's Lynn Brown with Carol and Ellie, and we're on our $1 million mission. So, guess what we do from the very beginning of our $1 million mission? We toast to that because that's what we do best. Toasting.
Toasting.
So here's to $1 million mission.
Right on.
Amen. Wait, I'll drink it.
There you go. Way to go, Ellie. Okay, so what are we talking about tonight? Well, we didn't ask, but I know a lot of people ask, can anybody succeed in online business? And I'm telling you, that's like a #1 question everybody asks, because they have this feeling like, you know, are you really making money with this thing? Is this something that you really can do? And all this kind of thing. So what was interesting is I got this email. I'm on Darren Hardy's email list, okay? I bought his book, The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, and I'm telling you that is the best book. I'm reading it for the 3rd time right now because it is really a current, you know, up-to-date kind of book. So if you want any kind of recommendation for the next book to read, it's Darren Hardy, and it's the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, okay? It is excellent. So anyway, what he got this email, or he sent out the email, and the email subject line is shocking. Old farts can learn new tricks. That's the subject line, okay? And then at the beginning of his email, he says that it pains me to get emails like this one that I just got the other day. And it's in quotes. This person is saying to Darren Hardy, I'm not sure your training is for me. I'm over 50, and this all seems very complicated, so I'll pass on this one, thanks. So I'm thinking, holy smokes. So many people think it's an age thing, or they might not have enough time, or they might not have enough money, or, you know, they might not have enough experience. But guess what? Everybody starts at 0. I don't care if you're a multimillionaire right now. Everyone starts at 0. So the question is, can you succeed with an online business? Here's what Ford would tell you, Henry Ford. If you if you want to, you can, and if you don't want to, you can't, or you will. That's what it is. If you want to, you will, and if you don't want to, then you won't. In other words, whatever you're thinking is what's going to happen. So if you go into anything, and this includes an online business, and you're thinking, I'm too old for this, I'm in our 50s, crap, I'm going to be turning 60 next year. So I'm thinking, 50s, that's nothing. You know what I mean? You're in your prime. And there is nothing that you cannot learn as long as you're open to learning, and as long as you're open to making a commitment to changing your life, because you will change your life when you start learning about an online business. So I know we're going to get into some other aspects, but I just wanted to throw that out there, that if age is holding you back from this, please don't let it. Please don't let it. And I mean, we're proof. Ellie, Carol, and I mean, we're no spring chickens anymore, but we're not old goats either. So we're proving how, success. I mean, I get, paid every single week. Every single week, money's going in my account, residual income, because I've been working at this business. I've been, building my success, following certain skills, following certain ways that these other successful entrepreneurs are teaching us inside of our business and inside of our company. Okay, plus for the fact we have a phenomenal comp plan. I mean, it's just ridiculously great. So I'm going to start off by saying, if you're watching the replay or if you're watching this live, there's a button below. And if you've been thinking about, starting an online business, we're telling you, we're giving you permission that yes, you can succeed, but it's up to you to make that commitment. And guess what the first commitment is? You have to commit to your own success. You have to say that I am going to do this, okay? So at any rate, I wanted to kick it off with that, and so now we'll switch it on over to either Carol or Ellie, and they'll get into other aspects of, can you really succeed with an online business?
Okay. I'll pick it up. I have a couple of things to say here. First of all, I would say that the very basis of online business, any business for that matter, and probably anything in life, is your mindset and where you're at in terms of your thinking. People will come into this business and say, well, I'll try it and see if it's going to work, which is kind of a thing saying you don't really believe it's going to. So that mindset is not a great mindset in terms of leading to success. So I was just listening to Les Brown, who is a huge guru in this business, the other day, and he was saying that number one, mindset is the biggest thing that you need. Number two, skill set, and number three, community. Also, another reason for the mindset aspect is the fact that, generally speaking, most of us tend to walk around through life with a lot of negative thoughts running around in our heads. Oh, I'm no good. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I messed that up, whatever. So we need to work on our mindset, on our personal development constantly in order to combat that, or in order to, I won't say combat, because what you resist persists, but in order to tweak, to shift that negativity. Now, on another level, as far as the business itself is concerned, I also heard someone teaching this the other day, which makes a lot of sense to me in terms of just starting off in the business, because people will ask, as Lynn just said, does this work? Does it work for me? Well, take a look at this. Instead, usually when you go for a job, you go for a job interview, and somebody will ask you, well, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Take the weaknesses and throw them out the window. Take a piece of paper and list all of the strengths that you think you have, that you believe that you have. Now, that's something that we're not often asked, so it's not always easy to do. But if you think about it, think about what kind of feedback you get from people. Think about what's easy for you to do. Think about things that you think you do well. Put them down. Make a list of your strengths. That's number one, because that's going to help you in the long run as to what direction you're going to take. Secondly, the question is, are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? Are you an ambivert? Ambivert being kind of a mixture of both. Some people tend to think, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do marketing or business. I'm not an extrovert. You don't have to be. Okay? I'm not the biggest extrovert in the world, trust me, but I'm finding my niche, and I'm able to work within this structure. And if you don't know what you are, I'm just going to give you a couple of ideas here. An extrovert is somebody who's outgoing, who's charismatic, who's tenacious, who has confidence, and who has a hunter mentality. And the kinds of things that they would likely be good at in this business would be making videos, speaking in public, attending network events, setting up home parties, setting up hotel meetings. Now, the introvert, on the other hand, is someone who generally tends to be quiet, works better alone, likes to work behind the scenes, not necessarily be out in the open there too much, and also loves to read and write. And the kind of thing that they are probably best in this business is blogging, using the Instagram, SEO, learning SEO, that's search engine optimization, that's a term that you would learn if you're in this business, email marketing, Facebook ads, and copywriting. And the ambivert is kind of a mixture of both, so you kind of have to feel your way through there and see what applies to you and what you're most comfortable with. So the other two things that would be important in order to establish yourself and get started in this business, and is to learn, be willing to learn, be willing to be taught, implement whatever you learn, and master it, and then teach it. Teach it to other people. And that's the best way to get yourself started in this business. Almost everybody will tell you that same thing. And finally, you need to develop for yourself what's called an income-producing activity or a daily method of operation. In other words, some kind of a plan that you intend to follow that will lead you to getting money coming in for you. So with that said, I will pass this along to whoever wants to pick it up from here.
Am I whoever? Hi, I'm Ellie Walsh. If you all don't know me by now, here I am. I say I'm an introvert, and people say I'm an extrovert. So then I found out, I think I'm an ambivert. So whatever, it doesn't even matter, okay, what you are. You just figure it out as you go along. That's what it is. So I'm laughing because the minute we brought this up, immediately Raymond is over on our chat page there, and he said it all starts with mindset. And it really, really does. So that question of can you build a successful online business, and it all starts with mindset. And the quote that I've heard is, if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right. And that's mindset. That we set ourselves up, and we actually set ourselves up for failure or for success. And that's the belief. And so I was writing notes while you guys were talking, and somebody talked about saying, try it, maybe it will work. That's probably the biggest reason why I hear so many people fail in online business, okay? Because this is not like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to start an online business like it is a brick and mortar. If you're going to open up McDonald's, it's probably going to cost you about $750,000, and you need more than that. They need to see more assets than that. But even like a Subway, I don't know, they're at least maybe $250,000, maybe $250,000. That's a lot of money. So then you don't play that game of, I'll try it. Unless you're already a billionaire. But anybody else that's going to start a business, all right, and open a brick and mortar business, and you have overhead, and you've put out rent for the building and security with it, and you've brought in the machinery that you need or the setup that you need, it's thousands of dollars. So they don't go into that business with, I'll try it, okay? They go in going, I'm going to make this business work. And that's actually, I believe, a brick and mortar is a harder business to so-called make work. But again, that's still, I do believe it's still about mindset. You can get into online business for a ridiculous low amount of monies. You can get in on the beginning stages for probably like $25, all right? But you're just in the beginning stages. So there usually is more money to invest because there's more money to invest in your own education and products. But that's where that I'll try it mentality comes from. Oh, it's $25, or it's $47, or it's $97. Yeah, I'll try it. And there's no commitment involved. So if there's no commitment involved, and then there's no belief system involved, and so then there's no mindset involved, okay? No, it's probably not going to work for you. You really do have to sit down and decide, no, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to try it. It's like Yoda, like he said, there is no try. Do or don't do. There is no try. I say to people when I'm in front of them, I'll say it to you, go ahead and try to hit my hand. But do it to yourself. Put out your left hand and go to try to hit with your right hand, try to hit your left hand. You either hit it or you don't. You either do it or you don't. There's no try. There's no such thing as try. So that's mindset. That, so people devalue online business because it is easier. I don't have to build a building. I live in this building. Okay, it was here already. I don't have to build a building. I don't have to get machinery. I do have to get knowledge. You have to do that no matter what kind of business you're going to do. I have to get knowledge. And so we devalue, because it's not we, but a lot of people devalue the business because it's a lower step in money-wise, but it can bring the greatest amount of profit because there is no overhead. I'm sitting in my house. I have to have my lights on in my house anyway. So that idea of can anybody build it, my answer to that is yes. Do you want to? That's the question I ask you. Do you want to? Because if you don't have that in you to do this, don't even bother. I mean that. Don't even bother. You're just going to jump around and here and there. You know, again, we've talked about this a gazillion times on this Hangout. If you're looking for that, I just saw some stuff. You know, I'm on Facebook and there's some groups and it's like $18 and then you'll make $4,000 every week. Folks, if you're buying that stuff, you know, no wonder why you have a bad feeling about online business. That's not business. This idea of for $18 one time, I think this thing was saying, one time, pay $18 and then you're going to make $4,000 every week. If that was true, everybody would have quit their freaking job by now and would be doing that if that was true. So online, there are reputable online business. There is. Okay, but you know, you've got to do your homework and you've got to make that decision. Am I going to do this? Am I going to do it? You know, or am I just going to go over here and dabble and play and then say, oh, you know, it doesn't work? The answer to the question, as far as I'm concerned, is yes, it's true. That's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. And I'm handing it over.
And I like how you say that it is true. And I think it's also true that even if you fail, if you get on board and you start an online business and you fail, as long as you're failing forward, is what I like to call it anyway, because we learn from what we do wrong, okay? And I don't think it's a failure per se. It's just an experience it's a learning experience, you know? It's building your knowledge base and helping you to go in the right direction. But also to test things out, because business is always about testing different things out and what it is that you like to do, because we're constantly sharing the fact that our Kalatu blogging platform is all about building your business around your passion. And then if you join on with the business part of it, you can bridge that passion over to, you know, the products that we do sell, and they're world-class, you know, training products that teach you, you know, how to become a top producer, how to build teams, and how to have massive influence. So all of that combined, like Ellie says, I mean, it's all in one place. You don't have all this overhead. You don't have to build a building. You don't have to build the products. You don't have to do any of that. But you do have to believe that you can succeed and that you're going to make that commitment. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and maybe both Ellie and Carol can talk about this too, is the transformation of the mindset from that employee mindset to an entrepreneur lifestyle. Because that's the one thing that I struggled with, because I was coming from decades of corporate, you know, my corporate career and being that corporate robot, as I say, and doing, you know, exactly what the corporations told you to do, and everything was structured, right? You got up at a certain time, you did everything at a certain time, you know, everything was the same. What I love about an online business is the freedom, the time freedom that it gives me in the morning. I was talking to Denny this morning, how it's real quiet in the mornings. I love the mornings because it's real quiet, and we might have half a cup of coffee because he's usually out the door, but we have time to talk. And then when he's gone, the house is quiet, and I have time to think. Because I left my corporate job 4 years ago, so I'm 100% on board with my online business and building teams. So It's one of those that your time freedom, you transform from this employee that had to be at these, 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever, and you took lunch at a certain time, and you took a break at a certain time, and you had to do all these certain things at certain times, and you had to think a certain way, the corporation wanted you to think. Well, now you have this time freedom to be your own creative self, to really dig down deep into this personal development, to really find out, who are you? What is it that you really, really, really want? And then you can go from that employee mindset and shift over into that entrepreneur, lifestyle, or that entrepreneur way of thinking. So success seems more possible then. Then you're looking at it thinking, wow, I think I really can do this. I think this is something I can do because I was so successful in corporate, my corporate career. Why couldn't I do this online business thing? And the answer to that is, like Ellie and Carol's been saying, yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's just a decision that you make. So I'll switch this over to Carol because I know she's got some corporate background too.
Yeah, I would kind of have to echo what you say there. And for some people, I would have to say that this is probably not the way to go for them. Again, only because of their mindset. And their comfort zone. I have to take a look at comfort zone too. Some folks are very comfortable with the security of a job, knowing that they have benefits, that the paycheck is going to come in on a certain day, hopefully, although that's not as secure as it used to be. And knowing what's expected of them, what the job requirements are, what the boss wants, what hours. Again, generally, sometimes they're expected to stay overtime or whatever, coming early. But generally speaking, what hours. Whereas in this business, it's up to you. You do your own thing. And I want to pick up on that, what you said, Lynn, about time to think. The founder of the particular company that we're affiliated with, when I first came into this business, I was reading some of his teachings, and he was, teaching the newbies how to get started and what have you. And he talked about setting your goal, your whatever word you want to use. Okay, sometimes it's a matter of semantics, sometimes how deep you want to go into it, but your passion, your goal, your intention, whatever it is. And then he said, the great thing about this is that you have the time to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, with whom you want to do it. And then he took it that extra step that I never heard anybody say before, and it absolutely blew my mind when I heard it. I have the time to think about what I want to think about. Whoa! Think about what I want to think about. Not, oh my God, have I got this done for the day? Did I finish my work up? Did I dot my I's and cross my T's? I can think about what I want to think about. Whoa! I love that. That to me is probably the greatest freedom that anybody can have. I just love that. And what else did I want to say? I think that's what I had to say at this point. Ellie, do you want to go from here, or?
Not for nothing, but this idea of job security, that's the biggest freaking joke there is. Sorry, it is. It's a joke. It's gone. It was, we are showing our age. Lynn said earlier we're not spring chickens. I was down here saying, I am, but obviously, if you're 20 years old or 30 years old or 40 years old and you have a job, that's great. I'm not beating up on your job. I am not beating up on anybody's jobs, okay? But you have the best opportunity to go and start something in your spare time, and you find a way to have spare time, because there is no such thing as job security. Too many people got slammed a couple of years ago. I mean, just people who never thought they would lose their job, who felt as though they truly had, they weren't just a cashier, and I'm not beating up on cashiers, bless them, we all need them, but they had even a bigger position and never believed that they would be laid off, and boom, out the door they went. And so many benefits they've lost, and if you're not 20 or maybe even 30, and even in the 30s they start to look at you like you're older, okay? It's not easy to get a job. So that idea of job security, I was raised believing in job security. We come from that era, and I saw that just like crumble. As a matter of fact, my mother would even talk about like getting a city job, and I grew up down in not in Manhattan but in New York City, and even that crumbled. There's no such thing, all right? They started to lay city workers off. They started to lay state workers off. So that all crumbled. There is no such thing. So if you are younger on here, you ought to really be looking at that idea of, I could start something over here and secure because your financial future is up to you. And I could start to secure my financial future. Now, Carol and I and Lynn, we know a guy who, he's $1 million earner. Look, results not typical. None of us here, anyways, are typical. I don't know. Are you typical? But, average. And we're not talking about average people. But he was an engineer, so he was educated. He's a good friend of ours. And he's retired at the age of 33. He's made over $1 million on online business. So this idea of, and wait a minute, he was the best. He was working his job. As he built this business. He is affiliated with the same company that we're in, and he got laid off. He was already making, as a matter of fact, they were laughing at him because they were like, when are you going to leave that job? You're making a lot more money in your own business. He stayed there because he was still there, and he got laid off. And he already had 2 kids at that time. He has 3 kids now. He already had 2 kids. That's not funny, So at 33, he retired. So if you're younger, you ought to be looking at this. And if you're, as Lynn said, not a spring chicken, this is the way to be able, look at, are you going to make money in a week? I don't know. Here's the truth. I didn't. That's the truth. I didn't. Okay, are you going to do it? I don't know. So there's no guarantee here. Does it take, how long does it take? Does it take 4 weeks? Does it take 8 weeks? Does it take 3 months? Does it take 4 days? I don't know. I don't know. Everybody is different. Everybody's journey is different. Yes, there are skill sets to learn. There is no doubt about that. There are skill sets to learn. But that's why you don't want to be putting that idea of I'll try it and it didn't work in 6 weeks. But what if and you left, and what if it was going to work on week 8? What did you leave? What did you leave? That's my question. That's my question to you. And I'll be quiet now. I'll pass it over.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the thing about, can you make money and how fast can you make it and all this kind of thing, because it reminds me when I didn't have very many jobs per se, in corporate America. Really, seriously, I only had, I think, 5. But at any rate, when you're hired, and maybe this has changed, you work 2 weeks. You don't get paid on day 1, right? You got to work 2 weeks, and then you get your pay. So in an online business, you can make money from the first hour that you get on board. It's up to you. It's up to how quickly you want to do that. I'll tell you a quick story. When I got on board, it was 2 weeks before their next event, which I didn't even know what they meant by events and all this kind of thing. And so I said to my husband, I said, well, it's right here in San Diego, and we're in Central California, so that's 6 hours away. And I said, why don't we make a vacation out of it? Because we had friends down in San Diego, so we did a 10-day vacation, and 4 of those days we're going to be at this event. And boy, are we glad that we did that. But during this event was the first time I heard about this commission countdown thing, okay, that they do. And all these people were being recognized for the money that they were making and all this kind of thing in our company. And it was fun. It's a fun thing. So then they started counting down, okay, and then everybody, I think 15,000 above were brought up on stage. And then people that were 15,000 and below, they just asked to stand up. And then they got down to who made their first sale, and the first sale was $25. And lo and behold, the day before, I got a notification that I made my first sale. So I had made $25. So my husband's sitting next to me, and he's all excited for me. He goes, stand up, I'm like, that's right, I made money on this thing, So it's really funny, but I took action. You see, I got on board in the evening, it was late evening, and that very next day, I sat there thinking, oh shit, how am I even gonna make my first sale? I had no clue, okay, because I was coming from this corporate background per se. I mean, I had been self-teaching myself on social media and about LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook and those kinds of things, but I didn't really know about this online marketing thing. All I knew were these other gurus and what they were trying to sell and all this kind of thing. And but at any rate, so I decided, you know what, I'm just going to send out, some messages, and I'm going to start blogging, because that was part of the first product that, you purchase is the blog. So I just started blogging, and lo and behold, people from LinkedIn, people in my connections on Twitter and everything started to contact me. And especially when I started sharing pictures of the event that we were in San Diego, and things just started snowballing from there, So it's the commitment, but then the next thing is taking action. And sometimes, and I know, leaders inside of our community have always said, imperfect action is still action. So you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know it all. Heck, most of the time, you don't even have to know what you're even doing. Some people say, I don't even know what I did to make my first sale, right? So it's one of those that you have, after you make that commitment, then you've got to take the action. And the action is what equals your success, and it also keeps building your personal development of confidence and this ability of self-belief to believe that you can keep going with this thing. So I say just do it. Make the decision, commit to it, and then take the action. And as far as I'm concerned, anybody can succeed at this. But like Carol pointed out, it's not for everybody. So, if you're going to dip the toe in the pool, it's probably not for you. Because if you're a business-minded person, you're probably understanding 99% of what we're talking about today. And this transitioning from corporate America to, having a business online. So that's my 2 cents. Over to Carol.
Okay. I'm going to go back to what you were saying earlier, Lynn, about failing. And actually, if you're failing forward, it's not really failing. I think it was Napoleon Hill who said in one of his books that there is no such thing as failure. It's just, in so many words, going over speed bumps that come up along the way, like they do in life, right? You get in your car in the morning to go to work, and the darn thing doesn't start. And you say, holy crap, what do I do now? I got to be at work at 8:30. How am I going to get there? It's a speed bump, So things happen. And going back to what Ellie said about jobs not being so secure, I'm going to refer to one of our colleagues who is in this business, and her husband, they're both boomers too, baby boomers, and her husband worked, she says it openly, so I'm not giving away any secrets, he worked for Pan Am for 30 years. It went out of business, so he was without a job, and in declaring their bankruptcy, the government came in and decided that he was going to lose 61% of his retirement plan. So, needless to say, he could not live on the 39% that was left over. He went out looking for a job, and nobody would hire him. They all said, oh, you're overqualified, which, all right, could be, but oftentimes that's just ageism kicking in. And that's something you don't have to worry about in this business. You can be, I guess you have to be 18 to sign the papers, but you can be whatever the youngest age is on up to whatever. There is no limit. And you can work this business. And this does become, going back to that story, his wife then, who was a hairdresser and was getting tired physically, she had worked that business for many years, then joined this business and, has been doing well on it. So that supplements his little 39% retirement, and, they're doing all right. So this is a good plan for supplementing whatever income that you think you're going to have in retirement, your Social Security, if you have a 401k, if you happen to be fortunate enough to have a pension of some sort, and you're worried about because of inflation and what have you, geez, am I going to be able to live the kind of life that I'm accustomed to? Well, think about this, because it's not very confining to do this, and you want to travel, you just take your laptop with you, and as long as they've got internet connection, you're set, you're ready to go. You can continue to work. People work all over the world in this business, in the Caribbean islands, all over the place, all kinds of exotic places. Talking about the so-called failing, now I'm going to make a generalization here, and I might be putting my foot in my mouth, so I hope I don't offend anybody, and excuse me if I do. But I believe that a lot of that is because people quit ahead of time. Who was it who said, I forgot, that you could be a week or 2 weeks away from your success. And I think sometimes, the younger generation, we call them the microwave generation, they're used to the, instant gratification, because that's the kind of world that they were raised in. Not myself. I was raised in a different world where you delayed gratification. But today, everything is right there. It's at your fingertips. So if they're not making money right away, they're thinking that they're failing. And, you got to, sometimes, some people do start making money right away. Sometimes you just have to hang in there for a while until you're able to tweak your way through and find out what's going to work for you. And finally, I wanted to go back to that third aspect that Les Brown talked about, and that's community. And this works in both areas, both in the mindset aspect of being in your own business. And as we said earlier, it does take a particular mindset, and it's not just reading one book or saying, oh yeah, I believe I'm going to make it, this is great, I'm going to be successful, and then forget about it. No, it's something that you have to keep at constantly in order to keep tweaking against those, tweaking away from those negative thoughts that keep popping into our heads. So having a community, which we do, of people who are uplifting and positive thinking is such a joy, such a positive thing to have in your work environment. Not always true when I was working on my job. Matter of fact, just the opposite. Every time I get in the elevator, I hear stories about, oh, another day, I can't wait till the weekends. Everybody's wishing their life away. Not a way to live. And also, there's all kinds of mastermind groups and trainings and hangouts and this and that and what have you that are going on constantly that will help support anyone coming into this business through the lumps and the bumps and the speed bumps and the questions and what have you. So that's where I am for right now.
No, so let's go right back down to the bottom line. Can anybody build a successful online business? It's true. It is true. All right. Will anybody do it? No. The answer. Will everybody do it? The answer is no. That's false. that's what that comes down to. And there's so many different things you touched upon. I was raised in I guess delayed gratification. You know what? I like instant gratification too, but I would prefer it if I could. But I get the idea of, all right, again, if you had $1 million and did a McDonald's, you are not in profit in the first year, folks. Not just the first month, okay? You ain't in profit the first year. So be aware of that. It's a business. So this, that's why the industry gets a bad name. And it's because, people, like, they've gone 6 weeks and they go, oh, my God, I didn't, make a big profit. Some of them actually even made money, but they didn't make a big profit. It's like, if that's your measuring stick, then maybe you don't belong in this. This is not just, look, if it was like that you could just cut and paste stuff, copy and paste, nobody would be at a job. Everybody would be sitting at the computer making millions of dollars. There's always a learning curve, always. If you're willing to follow directions, well, within our community, there's the difference, right? What business are you going into? Because you do want to have a community. Carol just touched upon that. Whether you're in a business like we're in, and we have a ready-made community, we really do, and like we're all friends, which is really cool. But, when I started a coaching business years ago, I got online, I blogged, I had to go find like-minded people. And that was more difficult, much more difficult. And I didn't always have it at my disposal. So for me, this is the best of both worlds. Is it absolutely for you? I don't know. Click the button, you can find out. And if it's not, there are other things you can do. Like just go blog about, some people say, well, I just want to be a coach, a life coach. Well, get a blog and get in touch with the person who brought you here, because they can certainly get you into a really great blog. There's many different ways. Go be an affiliate with Amazon. Go get a blog and do review sites. If you want to make money doing that, you have to be able to do reviews, and you have to learn. You just don't go up there and put this little blog, and if you don't know about SEO and keywords, and we have the products that teach us that. So there's always learning going on. I believe always. I think that's part of life, part of the journey. And we do get to mastermind. As a matter of fact, I know we got to get off here a little early tonight because we really have a good opportunity tonight. So I'm going to pass it over to Lynn, and I'm sure she'll give us her last-minute thoughts, and she'll toast us, and she'll take us out, and she'll give you some juicy details.
All right. Yes, because tonight, I'm telling you folks, there's a reason why you want to get on board with Ellie, Carol, or I, or the person that invited you to this hangout, because, we're in it to win it, okay? We are in it to win it, and we have a powerful, powerful blogging platform. It's no joke, okay? It's not hype or anything else. It's the real deal. And tonight, we are going to be, I can't even believe that, Neil Patel is going to be on there. And if you don't know who Neil Patel is, look him up on the internet. You'll see him everywhere. And he's a multi-million-dollar, whatever. He is awesome. So anyway, that is another reason why you want to get on board with us. And the $1 Million Mission, you'll learn more about that when you get on board. So I hope you took away, a lot of good information from Carol and Ellie and I, and you'll make a decision if this is the right industry for you, if this is the right stepping stone for you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, or get in contact with Carol, Ellie, myself, or the person that invited you to this hangout. And we're going to be back next week, same time, same station, and we'll come up with another, good topic to talk about. But yeah, we have to rush off now, because we want to learn from the best, from the very best, top quality best, as a matter of fact. Neil Patel. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be recorded. Maybe it will be. So when you come on board to the Kalatu Premium platform, you might be able to, listen in on the replay. We can't promise that. So, all right, gals, are we ready to toast it out?